So what is the best piece of advice that you need to hear in this coming year? I can give you this experience as a pastor for almost 20 years and who's worked with couples during that entire time, and then now a marriage counselor, as well as at the time of the recording of this, being married for 18 years to the same woman, by the way. It's not the advice I'm going to give today about love your wife, although it is. It's not just the advice of becoming a better listener, although it is. It's not just the advice of being faithful, although that is important as well. Those things are important, and I do teach on those things. However, the biggest thing and advice that I want to share with you is this. And I'm not saying I'm not recommending those things. I'm saying I am recommending those things. I do teach those things. But the thing I'm teaching you today is very important, because people who refuse to take this piece of advice eventually experience divorce. They eventually experience strain in their marriage because of not heeding to this advice. According to American Psychology Association, they also experience health problems, mental fatigue, mental strain, depression, all those things, anxiety. So what's my best piece of marriage advice? Here it is, one word, simple, but not easy: forgive. Forgive. It's a very powerful word in today's day and age. There's so much health consequences when it comes to people who do not forgive and hold on to resentment and choose to live in unforgiveness. In fact, Johns Hopkins University says unforgiveness leads to strain, anxiety, depression, and physical health issues. It's a powerful principle, this thing called forgiveness. It impacts our relationships. It impacts our perspective on life. It taints the way we see other relationships. If we continue to live in resentment and unforgiveness, the distance between you and your wife begins to widen. There's mistrust between you and her. And then also the way you look at other relationships, the way you look at your friendships, the way you look at other people begins to take a toll because of resentment and unforgiveness. Now, what is forgiveness not? Let me define what forgiveness is not. Understand, forgiveness is not acting like nothing happened and continuing on with your relationship with her. That's not forgiveness. Like, oh, it didn't happen, we forget it. Oh, it's like we have amnesia and nothing ever happened. That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is not giving permission to continue to be hurt again and being like a doormat where she can walk on or she can continue to hurt you and things like that. That is not forgiveness. And forgiveness is not like you won't feel the event, or you won't feel the sting or the pain of that injury or that what experience ever. That is not forgiveness. So what is forgiveness? If that's what's not forgiveness, then what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is not forgetting or condoning what just happened. Forgiveness is releasing the bitterness. If you continue on to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you how to forgive. But forgiveness is not condoning, is not forgetting, but it is releasing the bitterness, releasing that pain, that hurt. Forgiveness is recognizing the deepest intention that your wife had in doing what she did or saying what she said. It wasn't to hurt you, wasn't to destroy you. Whatever she said, her intention wasn't to hurt you, destroy you, and punish you. Understand that every one of us, yourself, myself included, every one of us has a positive intention. Everything we do, there's a reason why we do what we do. It may come out as wrong, it may come out as harsh or something that's caused injury and offensive, but underneath all of that, there's always a positive intention. Understand also, here's another thing about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a one-time event, it is a process. Forgiveness is also an opportunity to strengthen your relationship. Forgiveness is also creating boundaries, so that way certain actions, certain behavior will need to be modified, but setting boundaries so that all these actions and behaviors can be put in place, so that way hurt doesn't happen again, or that injurious event or action doesn't happen again. And also, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is an opportunity to bring healing to yourself. Ultimately, in all of this, forgiveness is to bring healing and wholeness to yourself. It provides a process of healing in yourself, and it reduces the stress. Because when we're in resentment, when we're in unforgiveness, we keep on replaying those thoughts. And I should have, I could have, but I didn't. And all these regrets, and we replay the hurtful experience. But when you forgive, it causes your stress levels, your anxiety levels to go down. When you forgive, you also begin to see things much more clearly. As I mentioned earlier, they always have good intentions, but because they don't know how to behave, because your wife didn't know what to do, maybe she didn't know what to say or how to take action, it came out in a way that was hurtful towards you. You took it as offensive, hurtful thing. And that's what happens. And you're not alone. Every couple goes through this. No couple is the perfect couple. We all go through our hardships. We all have the right intent. It's always at the seed of everything is a right intention, but the way it comes out may seem destructive, may seem offensive and hurtful. I kind of liken it to like a dog in a china shop. It is a dog. Let's just say, for example, an owner left his dog in a china shop where there's all these expensive vases, plates, and glassware and all these things. There's all these expensive things all over the shelves, standing on the ground because the vases are high. And let's just say all of a sudden the dog owner left the shop for whatever reason, and it was an emergency for whatever reason, and forgot, oh, I brought my dog with me. And so he rushes out of the shop, the door closes, and the dog can't find this little itty bitty chihuahua, is not able to find his way out. Now, the chihuahua is in the store all by himself and begins to panic. And what does he do? He begins to start trying to push the door open, or he tries to find his way out. He scratches his way out, but he can't do anything because he doesn't have the strength to push or turn the locked door, because maybe the door was locked. And just follow with me. And so in the midst of all this, the dog begins to start panicking and starts to push the vases aside, start to run up and down because he's panicking, and start pushing these glassware, pushes the vases, pushes all these expensive things, and everything comes down crashing. The intent of the dog was to get out because he's scared. He wants to find his master. He's scared. And so what does he do in the process? Starts pushing things down. He doesn't intend to. That's not his intention. His intention was to find safety in being with his master. But in the meantime, on the way there, he's pushing things and breaking things all over the place. That's kind of like our relationships, isn't it? In our attempt to try to find connection with our wife, our partner, we have the right positive intention. We're scared, we're afraid, we're sad, but the way it comes out with frustration and anger, and it lays on the heart of our wife in a way that is hurtful and disdain. And so that's where things go wrong. And many times your wife at times will do that with you, and you may do that with your wife as well. The bottom intention underneath it all is a positive intent, but it comes out aggressive maybe. It comes out hurtful. It comes out in a frustrating or angry way where your partner feels she doesn't love me, he doesn't love me anymore. So this is where the process of forgiveness needs to be applied. If you continue, I'm going to share with you how we can connect intimacy and deeper connection. If you hold on, I'm going to share that at the end of the video. But how do you forgive? In fact, I made it so easy for you. I used the word forgive and made it as an acrostic. All right. So the first one, F-O-R-G-I-V-E. The first one, how do you forgive? First letter of forgive is F. In other words, feel your emotions. Acknowledge that your emotions, your pain is real. Right? The thing is, we need to acknowledge our pain, but under that pain, under that anger, under that frustration, as I mentioned earlier, is the true emotions. Is what we're feeling sad, we're feeling scared, maybe we're feeling ashamed. Gandhi once said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. I love that. When you forgive, you're giving the strength and the ability to come out of this place of resentment and reach forward for freedom, right? And so it's important to allow yourself to feel those emotions. And again, at the end, I'll talk about how to repair connection after resentment. But the way you feel your emotion is like this. Let me give you a practical exercise. The way you feel your emotions is, again, for men, this is not something taught to do, so I'm going to teach you it. What we do is we take 3 minutes every day and just sit in silence with yourself. Remove all distractions. Maybe you go sit in your car, wherever it is, in your room where no one's around, and just sit there for 3 minutes. And what you do in that 3 minutes is say to yourself is what I'm experiencing right now, and then say whatever comes to your mind. Whatever I experience right now, I just feels dumb. This feels stupid. This feels weird. Just say that. Whatever thoughts and feelings come up in that moment, share it out loud. Why? Because what's happening is you're training your mind, your heart, your body to experience the emotion, to experience the moment right there, and understand it is okay to feel emotions. As men, we're taught to suppress it, rightly, because we got to get the job done, the mission completed, objectives fulfilled, and we gotta stuff it down, suck it up to make the play happen, to make the job accomplish, to execute the plan. We got to do that. But when it comes between us and our partner, us and our wife, we need to learn how to feel, to sit in that emotion and understand it's okay. So the first thing when you forgive, understand number one is to feel your emotions. The second thing in forgive is the letter O. Is first is forgive, is feel your emotion. Number two is open communication. Right? Open communication. Dr. Sue Johnson says, emotions is the messenger of love. Isn't that amazing? Emotions is the messenger of love. And she created this therapy called emotion-focused therapy, one of the therapies that I'm trained in. What it does is it helps you to share your feelings and emotions in an open and honest way, because underneath every anger and frustration is the truth of the messenger of love that we're trying to send towards our wife, our partners. And so it's so important. In fact, I have some videos from Dr. John Gottman that I teach on that talks about how to bring up tough topics and how we can practice active listening. It's just basically talking about how to understand your wife before being understood yourself. How to understand your partner before being understood yourself requires open communication. And open communication is one of those key components to forgiveness. So feeling the emotion, open communication. And R is this: reframe the situation. Reframe the situation. In other words, just viewing her actions in a way that you see it from another perspective. Right? We mentioned it earlier, but forgiveness is having to see where she's coming from another perspective, because we see it from our perspective, and our perspective as a husband, it's hurtful, it's offensive. But having to reframe it in a way that, what I understand, I hear it, I hear what you're saying, and I can hear what you're going through. It's looking at her for perspective. When she got pointed in her words, when her volume got turned up, it's all because she is trying to reach connection for you. She's trying to reach out to communicate and connect with you. That's the reframe. Reframing that her volume going up, her pointed words is her way of trying to get your attention and connect with you. So the exercise that I want to give you for this particular one is having to say to your partner, to your wife, saying something to the effect of, you were feeling frustrated, you're feeling upset, you're feeling angry, you're feeling pissed off with me because, and then list down all those reasons. List down the reasons why she was pissed off, angry, resentful, hurtful, right? Why she was hurt, right? Why she said what she said, why she did what she said. List her reasons down. And once you list her reasons down, you need to follow up by saying something to the effect of, that makes sense. I get it now. Why you felt those ways, right? The other one is not just reframe the situation, but grow from the experience. Grow from the experience. In other words, this is focusing on the lessons and the opportunities, the lessons learned throughout this whole experience. So the exercise is, I call it the one lesson exercise. The one lesson exercise is a prompt. It says, the one lesson I learned about what I can do to make sure I communicate with you better is, right? The prompt. The prompt is, the one lesson I learned about what I can do to make sure I communicate better is, I need to learn to listen before I speak, before I respond. Maybe it's, I need to learn how to understand before I jump to conclusions. Whatever it is, but what is the one lesson you learned through this whole conflict that helps you become a better communicator, a better husband for your wife? The next letter in forgive is the letter I. In other words, invest in healing. This is talking about prioritizing self-care. This is talking about taking care of this is talking about having to seek a therapist, having to talk to an accountability partner, and that is of the same gender as you. This is talking about listing down those things that you say, these are the things that helps me cope. One of them is exercise, sleep, taking a walk around the community just to calm down, whatever it is to calm your stress and anger. The next one is validate your choice. Validate your choice. In other words, validate your decision to forgive. Validate your decision to forgive. You need to decide to forgive her. As we talked about all the benefits and all the consequences if we don't forgive, and the benefits if we do forgive, right? But validate your choice to forgive. The reason why this is important is because when you choose to forgive and you go through this entire process, that injury event is going to come flooding back to the front of your mind. Something might trigger it, or something's going to cause that hurtful event to come back to the forefront of things. So what do? You apply CPR. What I mean by CPR is another acrostic. CPR. C means to catch it. To catch the memory of the hurtful event that's coming to the forefront of your mind, right? Acknowledge that this is something that did happen. It did happen. And so you catch it, you acknowledge it. Then the second thing in CPR is to give it perspective. So you catch it, you give it perspective. In other words, understand that your wife had the best intention. This is the reframe, bringing that reframe back to the forefront. You catch it, acknowledge it. Yep, she said that, she did that, but then you give it perspective. But you know what? The perspective is she was trying her best, or the reframe is she's trying to get my attention. She's trying to connect with me, but didn't know how, right? You give it perspective, and then you release it. Release it means it's like a wave. In Hawaii, we have beaches and there's waves. So the waves come on the shore and then it subsides. That thought, that memory, after you catch it, after you give it perspective, just release it. Give it some time. Maybe take a few minutes for that pain and all that thoughts to subside. It may take a few moments, maybe take a few 20 minutes, whatever it is. But over time, that pain will begin to subside. The last one, here it is to engage in connection. Engage in connection. Engage in connection. This is simply having to rebuild trust and strengthen your bond with her. Rebuild trust and strengthen your bond with your wife and create positive experiences. Paul Boyce said this: forgiveness does not change the past, but it enlarges the future. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future. So here it is. How do you build connection? How do you restore and repair connection with your wife after a hurtful, injurious event? I use another acrostics, another acronym, attune, A-T-T-U-N-E. You see, attune is about engaging your wife in a better way. It's like tuning in, like tuning a guitar is tuning in, being more connected with your wife, being more vulnerable and intimate. How do you do that? A-T-T-U-N-E. Let me give you this, right? This is the thing I want to talk about today. This is the importance. This is what it is right here. How do you build connection? Attune. A means to have an awareness of your emotions, right? It goes back to, how are you, babe? How are you feeling about this? Wife, how are you feeling about this? Right? Hearing how she feels. I feel pissed off, angry, and then just allow her to let it out. It may come up pointed, volume might come up, right? Frustration on her face. Let it all come out, right? Become aware of what she's feeling. The second thing is turn towards her. This is so important because when it starts coming your way, turn towards her. When you turn towards her and not walk away, not fight back, not justify, not give your explanations, but you turn towards her, you lean in with more love. Once you ask how you feeling about this and she'll share with you, you need to turn toward, like physically turn towards her. Don't tune out, don't go on your phone, don't walk away, turn towards her, because that shows you care about how she feels. Shows her how you feel about her pain in the midst of all of this. And then tolerance. Having this tolerance, able to respect her viewpoints, respect why she did what she did. Again, you may not agree why she felt the way she did or why she did the way she did, but you're tolerating it. You're tolerating it. And it'll get better. The next thing, as I talked about earlier, but this is part of having to repair that, is understanding. Understanding. It's, again, suspending your judgment, suspending your justifications, just suspending all your emotions, suspending all that, and putting yourself in her shoes. Saying something to the effect like, can you help me understand why you did that, why you said that? Understanding. And this is important, is non-defensive. Non-defensive. She's going to share her emotions. She's going to say some hurtful things, but It's for you to have understanding, and at the same time, it's also taking a non-defensive stance, non-defensive listening. It's not being defensive, not coming back with judgmental remark, but when you just listen and understand, this encourages trust and open communication. And the last is empathize. I have another video on empathy and active listening, which is all kind of intertwined in all of this. But empathize. You see, the thing about empathizing with her is that you may feel that you have empathized with her situation. You may feel it. However, does your wife feel that you understand what she's going through? Does your wife feel that husband gets it? He understands. He feels my pain. He understands why I came at him like that, why I said that, why I did that. Now, we're not talking about betrayal or infidelity. That's a whole nother session and video of training. But today I want to talk about just those other things outside of betrayals, outside of infidelity, just those other things that are said and done in the midst of the everyday relationships that can cause hurt, resentment, unforgiveness, all those things. This video is really pointed towards those specific situations. If you've been enjoying what I've been talking about, please like or subscribe to this channel. My heart is to help couples. If I can help the couples, I can help the community. If I can help the community, it'll be such a greater place. Take care. Enjoy life, everybody.